discovery of the country's mineral wealth be something of a double-edged sword? You don't have to look far, of course, to find an example of how minerals can fuel conflict rather than conclude it. Take the blood diamond phenomenon, in which diamonds mined in African war zones are sold on to finance and insurgency. So that's a big question tonight. Let's dig further into it. I want to bring in Ashraf Haidari, who's a political counsellor at the Embassy of Afghanistan in Washington, and Antoine Noiti from the Revenue Watch Institute in Washington. Ashraf, let's start with you, and let's start in Afghanistan. We saw Jill Doherty's report about the area where the largest amount of iron ore in the world, potentially, is sitting below the Afghan mountains. We also saw some pictures there of Iraq. How does Afghanistan exploit its newfound mineral resources?
Well, as the Minister of Mines, Waidullah Shahrani, pointed out, we hope that in the next 3 to 5 years we attract capital investment from the region as well as from around the world in the natural resources sector in Afghanistan, which has largely been unexploited and which is potentially a major source of employment for the Afghan population, which is one of the youngest in the region, where, of course, most of our people are unemployed. And also it's part of our economic development strategy to create as many jobs as we can now and, of course, on the long run, so that Afghanistan over time becomes self-financing, both in terms of our economic growth and development and reconstruction, but also in terms of defense of Afghanistan against our common enemies.
I understand that. So jobs in mines, not necessarily, though, Antoine, owned by the Afghans themselves. We just alluded to those who are bidding for much of the mineral resource in Afghanistan. It doesn't look as if the entirety of it will go anything like Afghanistan's way.
No, if we judge by international experience, a number of countries have had serious difficulties in getting a good deal from their extractive sector. A number of countries such as Congo, Sierra Leone and others have not only signed bad contracts with companies, but also their expectations from the populations we've seen in the report have often been missed, and which can further create discontent among the citizens of Afghanistan if all these hopes are not fulfilled.
Ashraf, how do you prevent that?
Yes, we, of course, reject bad contracts like we did back in February 2010, when there was one offer from one of international firms. I believe it was from Orient Petroleum International, which we considered not to be in our best interest and the best interest of the Afghan people in terms of creating jobs. So we are, of course, very careful about the terms of the contract based on the minerals laws and other natural resources laws, to make sure that the revenues generated from the natural resources sector in Afghanistan will stay in Afghanistan, will be invested in a productive economy, so that we continually grow Afghanistan's economy and continue to create jobs.
So that would be a coup to Afghanistan, but will it create conflict? Unless we forget the movie Blood Diamonds laying out the potential for resource conflict. Let's just take a look at that.
Don't tell me you're going to try and sell it yourself. To who? And for what price, my friend? You need my help whether you like it or not, huh?
What are you talking about?
Let me help you with that. You hear that? You hear that? They came into the city overnight. It started. What are you going to do now, huh? This is the right stone can buy anything. Information, safety, even freedom. But a big stone does not stay secret for very long.
Resources can be a mixed blessing, Antoine, of course, and resource conflict can ruin a country.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the experience of Sierra Leone, of Liberia, is there to remind us what can happen if a country that is still in conflict, such as Afghanistan, discovers significant resources, such as is the case here. And the key to answering that problem is transparency. The government of Afghanistan has taken some steps to address the transparency and corruption concerns, but a lot needs to be done. They have signed up to the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, but now we want to see whether this will be actually implemented. And there are other major concerns regarding how money is spent and how procurement happens in the country that will need to be addressed.
Ashraf, the last question to you, and it's an important one, and one that has been brought up with me again and again and again. It's our Twitter question tonight. It's a controversial one. Did the coalition forces go into Afghanistan to rip off the national resources? Your answer?
That's absolutely wrong. The international forces are in Afghanistan, and the invitation of the Afghan government and people to help secure Afghanistan so that reconstruction of Afghanistan and long-term development of Afghanistan, and part through extraction of our national resources, which have been not exploited, happen. And so we are committed in partnership with the international community and, of course, their military forces in Afghanistan to help secure Afghanistan on the one hand, and also to build institutional capacity and help our ministers, such as Ministry of Mines, through technical assistance to implement laws and to offer bids on these national resources, so we extract them for long-term economic growth of Afghanistan.
Mineral resources. Coup or conflict? Gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for joining us.